Hi everyone, welcome to Tech Update channel. My name is Melih and today we are going to install Windows 11 in a virtual machine. Even if we install it in a virtual environment, at the end of this video, you'll be able to install it in your personal computer or physical computer. Let's get started. Like the other operating systems, Windows 11 has also some specific requirements. To access these, you can use this website. To make it easier for you, I'll be sharing this link in the description section. When you visit this website, you will see some requirements here. I strongly suggest to check these before starting installation because one or two of them haven't been covered. Then you will most probably get error in the installation stage. If there are no problems here, then we can continue to download ISO file for the installation. To make this happen, we can apply two sources hosted by Microsoft. One is the Windows 11 download page, and the other one is the Volume Licensing Center, which is inside the M365 page. M365 is only for the M365 subscribers and it is not publicly opened and accessible, but the Windows 11 download page is accessible by everyone. Before continuing, we need to make sure we need to install the right version of the Windows 11. So between these websites and the installation files also, there are some differences. For example, if you want to install the Windows 11 Enterprise Edition, we cannot access when we download it. We need to go to the Volume Licensing Service Center if we have a subscription. Additionally, if you want to download the home edition of the Windows 11, we cannot find it here. For this purpose, we need to go to the Windows 11 download page and download the appropriate ISO file. For this demonstration, I am going to use Windows 11 Enterprise Edition. So I already downloaded it from the Microsoft M365 Admin Center. But whatever your license key is, you can use either this admin center or the Windows 11 download page. They have similar configuration and we will already cover most of them in this video. So in this case, I am going to install and configure this operating system into the virtual environments. So other than the virtualization tool, I don't need any other application. But in your case, if you need to install it in a physical computer, you need a flash drive and also tool that you can burn the ISO file into the flash drive. So in download Windows 11 page, there is a tool called media creation tool. You can use this tool to burn the ISO file into the flash drive, but for this purpose we will use another method. There is a generally known tool called Rufus. So when you download it, you can easily burn the ISO file and also customize the installation according to your needs. When we come to this page and go a bit down, you will see the download exe files under the download section. So typically in Windows x64 environment, there are two downloadable sections, the standard and the portable. Standard is the one you can install and configure this Rufus software. But if you just need to run it without installation, you can use the second one as well. We will use this tool without installation. And I'm just clicking the Rufus exe. It asks me user account control and I am allowing it as saying yes. And then we run the Rufus. So under device section, it displays me which USB drives are connected into my computer. In this case, I have one USB flash drive which is 64 gigabytes, and it is fine for me because I need 8 or more gigabyte capacity USB flash drive to make this happen. Under the boot selection, I need to select the ISO file to burn it into the USB drive, and I'm clicking select and selecting the ISO file which were already downloaded from the M365 page. In this case, I'm going to install 25H2, which is currently the latest version of the Windows 11. I'm clicking open it, and the current and default selections are okay for me. Image option should be the standard Windows installation, partition scheme should be the GPT, and target system should be the UEFI. Volume enable is the one that we can rename the USB flash drive after the installation. So we can call it like Windows 11 installation disk. And after that, we are leaving again file system as NTFS and the cluster size as 4096 bytes, which is the default one. And we are ready to burn the ISO file as clicking start. After that, it allows me, if you want to customize these installation. These are useful according to our needs. For example, if you need to use this flash drive on multiple computers to install Windows 11, so we can speed up the process significantly. And also, as I stated before, Windows 11 has some specific requirements, unlike the predecessor. For example, Secure Boot and TPM 2.0 is the new requirements, and if we don't have these hardwares, we can remove the requirement of these as selecting them. Also, the Microsoft Online account requirement can be selected and removed here. So these are other things. It can be regional options, it can be privacy options. You may want to select them according to your need to make installation available and also speed up the process. I'm just clicking two of them, but I will not use them in my environment since I will directly use the ISO file in the virtualized environment. So these things still will be required in my case. I'm just clicking OK, and then it asks me if I want to continue because it will destroy the USB flash drive and install the installation files. I am selecting OK, and it began to burn the ISO file into my flash drive. Next, we need to configure the virtualization environment. For this purpose, there are mainly used two solutions. One is the VMware Workstation, and the other one is the Oracle VirtualBox. In this session, we are going to use VMware Workstation. After opening it, we need to create a new virtual machine from here. We are selecting typical and clicking next. Since I'm going to specify the operating system later, I am choosing this option and clicking yes. After that, you have to specify the operating system and the version of it. Since we are going to install and configure Windows 11, from the options, we are going to select it and clicking next. For virtual machine name, we can name anything that is meaningful for us. For example, we can call it Windows 11 English. And we need to specify the location where the virtualization files and folders stored. It's okay for me, and I'm clicking next again. Right now, since Windows 11 requires the TPM module, VMware Workstation asks us to encrypt some of the files of this virtual environment, or all of the files to be encrypted. Any option will work, so I am keeping this option and also specifying a password for it. And clicking next again. This size can be different and in your case it can be bigger than this one, but right now it is okay for me. For the storing this file into a single file or multiple files can vary according to your purposes, but I strongly suggest that keep it to as a single file for the disk file, because when we split it, it can reduce performance. So I generally select this option and click next. After that, it is mostly configured, but since this is a virtualization environment, we want to improve some hardware and also associate and attach the ISO file into this virtualization environment. So we are clicking customize hardware, and then for the memory, yes, it is okay, but we want to increase it to 8 megabytes. For the processors, I want to increase it to 2 to make it coarse S4. The CD DVD section, which allows us to mount the ISO file into this VMware Workstation template. So instead of selecting the use physical drive, we are going to use a ISO file which we already downloaded from the M365, or in your case, the Windows 11 installation page. I am selecting my ISO file here, which includes the Enterprise Edition, and clicking open. And also it is English version of it. And please remember that to be able to recognize this ISO file at the start of the VMware Workstation, so we need to able to connect it at power on. So to be able to boot with this ISO file, we need to select connect at power on option. And for network adapters, it is okay for us and as defined like not. But I will also record a video about these settings, so you will get a better understanding. But for now, the NAT option is okay for us. The other ones, USB controllers, sound card, and display, we can keep it as default right now. And click close and then finish. After that, the template is ready to boot up our ISO file, and we are ready to install the Windows 11 operating system. To start installation, we need to power on this virtual machine. When we do that, the virtual machine will be using the ISO file to boot up. In your case, if you are going to install Windows 11 in your physical computer, you need to boot up from the USB flash drive. To do this, I will be sharing some boot keys for known manufacturers. But even if these are not working for you, you need to enter the BIOS and boot order, and you need to move your USB flash drive into the first position to boot up. So you can easily boot from this device. Right now I am clicking button to boot it from the ISO file. Now the system is asking us about the language and time and currency format. Since we download the English version of this ISO file, there's no option to select, but we can change the time and currency format according to our needs. In my instance, I'll be selecting the Turkish and clicking yes. Since I am familiar with the Turkish keyboard, I will be using it. You can change it as well according to your needs and clicking next. Because we want to install Windows 11, we keep this option and also give our consent that everything will be deleted and clicking next. As you remember, when we download the ISO file from the M365 page, I specified that the home edition is not here. So it is crucial that you need to select the appropriate ISO file to download. In our case, since we are going to install Windows 11 Enterprise, we are selecting it and clicking next. Right now, it is asking the license terms, and to accept or decline. To be able to continue, we need to click accept. Now it wants us to specify which disk we want to install this operating system. Since we have only one disk, and which is 64 gigabytes, we can select it. But in your case, there may be much more disk space, like 100, 250, or 500 gigabytes. If this size is bigger like this, I strongly suggest to create a partition for the operating system and keep your personal and important documents on the other partition as creating it. Since this disk size is barely enough for our operating system, I will not create a partition. But if you want to create a partition, click here and define a size in megabytes. So 1024 multiplied by, for example, 100 will give you approximately 100 gigabytes in your case, and click apply after that. And additionally, you may not see your all disks here listed. This can be because the driver is not recognized by the default Windows 11 setup files. So if this is the case, you need to load the respective drivers to be able to let the Windows to recognize it. And after that, when you click the refresh, you should be able to see here, and you can easily select it. Right now we are clicking the disk, or the only disk which we have, and clicking next. After that, it informs us we are going to install Windows 11 Enterprise, and it will delete all the partitions. For some reasons, you may not come to this far and you may get some errors because, as I stated before, there are some minimum system requirements for Windows 11. I strongly suggest that to check these requirements if they are covered in your end. And mostly these are the problems if you get some error. If you come to this far, then you can simply click install and continue. After that, the installation files will be installed and some configurations are being asked for us to customize this installation. At this point, I will fast forward the recording to not let you to wait for these steps, and after that we will continue. Next, it asks us for the country information. I am choosing Turkey, and you can choose wherever you live and click yes. It again asks us for the keyboard input method. It asked us twice. The first one was regarding of the configuration for this installation, and the second one is for us to use while we are using the operating system. So again, according to your needs, you can choose the appropriate input method. In my case, I'll be choosing the Turkish Q and click yes. It asks us want to add a second keyboard layout. We are just skipping it. Let's skip. It wants us to use a Microsoft account to bind it with this computer. Since I am going to use only username and password, I'm choosing sign-in options here, and then domain join instead. For the username, we are just specifying one and click next. For the password, we need to specify a decent password for it. In case we forget our password, the system asks us to specify security questions. Since this is a test installation, I'm not checking the questions, I'm just answering the same ones. But in your case, you need to be sure it is meaningful for you. In this section, it asks us to enable or disable some privacy settings according to this operating system. As I stated before, when we want to install this operating system in many computers, these data the system asks us to fill in can take more time than expected. So I strongly suggest either use the Rufus or some unattended XML installation to as preparing this USB flash drive or ISO file in your case. But right now I will be keeping these options enabled, but you can change the location settings, find my device settings or diagnostic settings, etc. according to your needs and click accept. Among installation and configuration, the system periodically checks for the updates. If there is any, it will find and install these updates and allows us to use it after the installation. Right now, it finds some of them and it tries to download and install it. I'll be fast forwarding at this point and I will continue for the next section. After installing the updates, the system tries to finalize this installation. It asks us to enter our username and password. And after that, we'll be ready to use our operating system. Our installation is successfully completed. We came to the end of this video. See you on the next one. Take care. Bye.